And we are live. All right, Catherine, here you go.
All right. Well, it's Saturday night, and there's always something going on everywhere and anywhere when it comes to politics, isn't there? So, a couple things we just wanted to kind of bring up. I know that Nicole and I are getting a lot of feedback about Jonathan Culp and his flyers, and he is wanting everybody to know that he is very thankful that everybody is sharing even negative criticism, because negative criticism still is advertisement. And so he's having all this free advertisement from all of us. And here's what I'm going to tell the people: keep advertising. Keep advertising, because I'm going to tell you what. Um, if we don't say something and he gets it, then we're going to hear about it.
Yeah, people be like, why didn't anybody tell us? No, we
Right?
told you. We've been warning.
If he does get it and we've said something, we win either way. I mean, so we lose if he gets the sheriff's seat, but we win by making sure that we did our part as concerned, educated voters to let people know that, he probably should not be the one who should be sheriff. Now, what floors me is that nobody seems to want to question what his qualifications are.
That
I
blows my
mean,
mind.
yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a degree in criminal justice. He's never been, that I know of, he's never been in law enforcement at all. I don't think he has a college education. I mean,
I
I'm
don't
almost
think he does
positive.
either. I don't think he does either. I think he went, he was homeschooled and then that was it.
And so the truth of the matter is that I say keep putting the information out, do what you got to do. And people are asking, where's he getting all this money? Understand, he's using all those cult signs. So he's got tons of money coming in because, well, because he can. He doesn't have to spend it on signs, although they lost quite a few in the wind destruction.
They did.
So,
They did.
that's what it is. Now, I want to say that God's watching over us and telling us, hey, um, Jonathan, take this as a message from God, but everybody's signs blew away. So,
Mine didn't. I have one sign I put up this weekend or put up yesterday
yeah,
and it
it's still
brave,
up.
it's still up. It didn't even rip.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, the thing is that we're all going to have to get through this together. We're going to have to educate a society, because remember, an educated society is very dangerous to a corrupt government system. And, I'm going to tell you, this election matters more than any election there is, because right now you have a chance to put somebody in the clerk seat other than the Klan, and I am going to call them KLAN, the Klan, because they're just as bad as, I mean, I will equate them to the KKK. I will. I don't even have a problem with that, because Russ has been on this mission, and so has Kelly Hewer, that anything that I say, that's the truth. And now we're seeing Andrew Hanna get involved in all of this. I mean, that's craziness within itself, that Andrew Hanna is even remotely thinking like, oh, well, I'm not going to get involved with this. And I'm going to say, look over there and deal with it over there. Oh, and take it to the county election board. But yet people, all these times, Andrew Hanna would be like, if you just bring it to me, if you file something with us, we're going to take care of it. Well, everybody can see that that's not how he's not going to go against the party line.
Yeah, and that
And
just
that's
don't make
unfortunate.
no
I
sense.
like Andrew Hanna.
I do too. I like him too.
I mean, I do like Andrew Hanna, but unfortunately, he only has a backbone when it benefits the the party line, and that's not what we need. We need somebody who's in there who knows between right and wrong, kind of like that judge out at in Elkhart, who came back and said, listen, if a person's voted twice in two Republican votes, it doesn't matter if you put them as a good standing or not in good standing, they still get to run. So that's just the reality of that. So I just want everybody to know, I don't know what Andrew Hanna is going to do to move the county forward, because it appears more that he's all about the photo op, all about this is what I can do, in Washington, this is all I can do. But look around in our county. Our county is a disaster. Right. And so it's like they only pick and choose what they want to address. I mean, look at them. They went right after Larry Savage. I mean, the election board, referred it right along. They made sure that the state police had a warrant. They made sure that the state police were out there making a fiasco. They made sure the state police arrested him. But there is a laundry list of things that Russ Willis has done. And even when he's found guilty, it says he will not face any charges. How is this possible?
Right. And so you mentioned Larry, and I want to remind everybody that through the videos and everything that we've watched on the Rewind and going back and checking footage, the secured ballots never left the chain of custody of Linda Smith.
No, because she was able to make up those 3 ballots and make those computers match. Even though when we were in there, she said, okay, the testing company and the election board said the computers are locked, they're all done, everything's closed. And not until we went back and watched the reels did we notice one of the computers did not have the same screen. But after the lady from the election testing left and came back and fed 3 sheets through testing ballots, then it was like the lady was distracting us at the podium so that we didn't pick up on the fact that they were feeding those.
Right. That's crazy too.
Technically, they certified a testing site without all the original ballots.
And I thought that was against Indiana code.
Right. So that should have been, and these are things that the prosecutor's fully aware of. I mean, here's a question. If the county election board is doing things incorrectly, then who holds the county election board accountable if Andrew Hanna doesn't?
No,
so the word came
because
that you have to take it to the Indiana State Police.
Okay.
They have an election board. So, and I don't know that I fully agree with Andrew's response. He says, this is to Cheryl because she wanted to talk about the Hatch Act law. She says it has long been the policy of this office to avoid initiating investigations or taking investigative steps that could reasonably be expected to influence or impact an upcoming election. Really? Because you guys do this stuff. I mean, I don't even know what to say, Andrew. I mean, this is the kind of verbiage that makes people lose trust in our legal system. This approach is consistent with widely recognized election sensitivity principles followed by the United States Department of Justice and other law enforcement agencies nationwide. Well, Andrew, if this were true, Russ Willis would have faced charges. He would have faced charges. A special prosecutor wouldn't have let him off because, see, people, what you need to understand is how they get to a special prosecutor. So they call a county that they need a favor from, and they say, hey, we need to do this favor for us. And then that county says, yeah, we'll do this favor for you. But remember, when it's our turn, you got to pay us the favor back.
I don't like that.
And that's not a good system. That's not a check and balance system. And people are like, oh, now you're questioning their integrity. What am I questioning? It's the fact. Look at the evidence. Okay. And so the only people who are breaking the trust with the community is not Nicole and Catherine. It's Andrew Hanna and his team of people. I mean, they're just rolling in the same culture that's always been there. And this is going to frustrate people. If they get a good Democrat that comes out and runs, this could cost Andrew the election. Now, people are like, oh, it's so red here. There's no way a blue person can win. I wouldn't be so sure about that.
I wouldn't be so sure either.
I would not,
one of the guys at the Veterans Coffee Club this morning, Art, he brought up a good point that he thinks a lot of Republicans are going to wind up voting Democrat this season because they're so fed up with the Republicans.
Well, and the thing is that when you saw they couldn't get the redistricting done, I'm going to tell you what, Trump's come in and he's backed these people, to go against anybody who didn't do the districting. That could, like you're saying, that could backfire on them, because in the general, people could say, okay, well, we're going to take the Democrat over that Republican that Trump's just put in there. So I mean, this could get to a real tricky situation. I don't know.
Yeah, come this
So
fall.
he says, for concerns relating to election procedures or campaign conduct under Indiana state law, the customary practice is to first file a complaint with the Madison County Elections Board. Okay, people, we did that.
Yeah.
We did that with Russ Willis. And what happened? He got off scot-free with his canvassing, even though he was guilty. And then he, with his finances, he said he only kept 2 years worth, and he was allowed to lie under oath that he only kept 2 years worth, submit 5 years worth of documents, which, I mean, he was under oath. And the election board took the amendment and did nothing. I mean, like, the FBI needs to investigate this stuff. It's so crazy.
But I turned up, see, and that's the thing. So next month, April 16th, when we go to the Tea Party for our, what is it? We're just our speaking engagement with the voters. I was going to take some of my FBI complaints that I filed on Russ Willis, because I literally filed them. I put all my information in there, and I got crickets. And that was over a year ago, before he even came at me with getting mad at me for sharing the right. Democrats' posts.
Well, and that's the whole thing. I mean, we know that we all know that it's corrupt. I mean, there's just no question. And people are asking, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, if I am in the senator seat, I'm not going to let it go. Like, I am going to push at the attorney general's office. I'm going to do, I'm going to push on a lot of other buttons, because this is just not right. So, yeah, I mean, who gave the order?
Yeah, I put the wrong date on this. This was actually 10/3/2024.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to give the audience a quick kind of like.
Is the video here?
Yeah, it's here.
Let's play it.
Okay.
Now watch closely, everybody. And the fact that they've all read it and nobody or all have seen this video, nobody's typing.
See, the ballots have already been. They've already walked out. Larry's already gone. He just no, or is he down there at the end? No, I think he already left at this point. And then you got Tim Lannon right here. This is Stu Clark right here. What's it? The blonde lady that stood in for Russ Willis is right here. Linda Smith is over here. Rebecca Crooms is right here. Catherine's right here. Leslie Bright right here.
And we didn't even know this had happened.
Now I think Stu is starting to realize something's off right here.
Okay, but where do they go when they said all the machines were closed? And that's Terry Austin up there with me. Keep going. Like, I didn't even want to go up there, and the people were like, Catherine, come up here. I'm like, what do I want to come up there for? I mean, it was so chaotic. Keep going.
Because you're going to be able to see the screens here in a minute when they start zeroing these machines out.
You got to keep going.
Where's Sean? This is Sean just entered. Okay, here are the machines. I'm going to pause it. Real quick. So right here, this machine supposedly been zeroed out. This machine supposedly been zeroed out. And then these are the two last machines they're getting ready to zero out. Okay, you can see Sue Clark starts to panic a little bit because she realizes that something's missing.
Yeah, I think we have a time for that.
You see Tim Lannon is supposed to be in the front down in here watching these machines. Here goes number 3. She's walking back up there to sit down.
So keep scrolling.
Okay.
See, Sue's over there trying to figure out why these aren't zeroing out.
There's the boss lady with the brown hair that starts doing the distraction. Okay, I think she just alerted Linda to something. Tim comes around the side. Now they're both like, uh-oh, something's happening.
And I don't understand, you know, this is like a classroom. Why don't they just ask and say, does anybody have a ballot by any chance? Why didn't they bring it up to everybody?
They don't mention, I don't hear them in these
No,
clips.
they never mention that their count is off. I mean, that's the thing. So as you see, the 2 on the right are still blue, and we don't know what's going on. Fast forward it, Nicole.
I was going to say, do you want me to fast forward again?
Go on.
And just real quick, if anybody wants to see this full footage, you can see it on my heads up page, and you can always contact me on Facebook, and I will send you the link to these videos to watch them without our input. Yeah, no, yes, JB Ghost. I accidentally put the wrong thing at the top of the screen. So
we mentioned that at the beginning.
Yeah, technically 2024. So
you'll have to edit it.
Yeah, I'll have to edit it. Wait. Did you want to see how far you want me to go when they?
Well, because the third machine will zero. I think. I don't know.
Wait, I think she just walked out. See, now you know. I think she walked out because now Sue Clark is not anywhere in this room. Okay. She's already walked out back here.
Okay, so hit play.
Wait.
So now Linda and the election person, they're talking, they're trying to, you know. And so she's like, here are the tapes. This is showing that it's all completed. And that's the second approval. Right. So she's got us focused on these 2 machines thinking they're all zeroed.
Right. And she brings Leslie up. Is Leslie on?
I don't think so. Not
right now. So these are the results from that, and then these are what the expected results are. So we're making sure that.
Okay. You want me to fast forward some?
Yeah.
I'm with the sheriff's department, so you please need to step back.
Oh.
You want to kick me out of the meeting? If that's the route you want to go, I can.
And this is the part I want people to understand.
You are not. They have
this is a public meeting. You can video.
You can come up and look at it, but you cannot record it.
He absolutely can record it.
State regulations say it can't be recorded.
Perfect. What state regulation?
They can never tell us.
Because there isn't one.
This
This is a testing environment.
Okay.
This isn't an actual
They can see
casting
it
a
with
vote.
their eyes.
So they've got this third machine down here now zeroed.
So the third one is now zeroed, but the fourth one never zeroed.
Is still
what happens.
well, within the constraints of the law.
on a
you
different
can't tell me.
screen than the rest of them.
Like, there has to be reasonable accommodations for the public to film. What's the difference?
And they are, and you can record it from that second row.
You can
What's
film
the difference if
anything
I
your
sit back
eyes
there
can
with a
see.
telephoto lens and I zoom in on the text on the screen or the ballots, or if I stand here?
Okay, she is running this meeting. She has the ability to control what happens to this meeting,
Within
similar to
the
our county council
constraints
meeting.
of the law.
No, she does
Right,
not.
and the state statute gives her the authority to decide if someone needs to leave. You can give us so many warnings. If not,
You know,
then
your,
we can do it.
your
from there. We
remedy.
don't
You
wanna
get
do
3
that.
warnings.
Violating the open
House Bill
And that's what I want.
1338.
door law is to file a complaint.
It is 100%. So
To
if you're,
do that.
if you're telling me I
You don't.
can't, if you're telling me I can't film,
Then-
and I
then
need to
file a
leave, then
complaint.
I'll leave.
I didn't tell you couldn't film. I told you that you could, and I
There's
gave
an
you
area
the
for the
area.
But you
I
can do it
can't
from
hear
a
everyone
distance.
at one time. What does Linda have to say?
I
See the
said, I
confusion?
didn't tell you that you couldn't film. I have allowed anyone who has their own recording device, I've asked for you to be in the designated area. Okay?
Yeah, because you don't want them catching the messed up stuff. You want me to keep fast
Information is
forwarding?
confidential
Well,
information and just
what I
be
wanna show
treated as
people
voted ballots.
Is that these officials don't know what the law is, but the citizens do. And I don't know why people allow the officials to try to pull a fast one on us and then use law enforcement and abuse law enforcement to their power. And that's what gets me every time is these people have no problem saying, well we're going to throw you out with the sheriff. Well, who throws them out? Well, I'm going to answer that for you. The voters. And if you keep recycling these incompetent buffoons, because that's what Linda is, there's no other way to put it, then this is what you're going to keep getting.
There you go, Alva. It's a good
You-
statement.
I'm just floored,
Okay. So, do you want me to fast forward to when
Yeah,
they?
so you see, but everybody notices on the fourth
in the
monitor,
law.
it's not zeroed out.
This one right here is not zeroed.
Can you tell me what is confidential in a company set? We count everything.
That all test materials. are
So
sealed.
here comes Sue
I
back.
want to catch her come.
Phone
She
number,
comes back in the door right here.
Yeah, here she comes back in
Runs
the
around the
doorway,
front.
Says right here.
carrying sheets. Well, this one's distracting you, and look at her. She starts feeding the machine ballots.
And disposed as paper ballots. They are confidential. I wish that I would have looked that up, but that's exactly what.
Now watch Sue there on the fourth computer.
I'm not gonna, I will not arrest you. Isn't that your understanding?
So while we're all being distracted
Public access.
by our violations of our rights, arguing those, you got Sue over here feeding the machine. Now, if she didn't have all the original ballots, they couldn't certify these tests. But they did certify the tests. And they made ballots to make it match.
Yep. Okay. Oh, it just had it. So the machine's starting to switch over right now. It did look like this, so she must have to do something else. But the screen's getting ready.
Well,
to
they have to like calibrate or equal it out.
Yeah.
Have they been verifying? Yeah, they look the same, right?
See, she says they've all been verified. They all look the same. No, they don't. I didn't pick up on it when I was in the room either.
Need verified. If any member of the public would like to come up and do that, they're invited to do it. Yes?
Right there.
This came from the ballots that were sent into this machine.
Okay.
And then we're comparing that the results now match the projected results of the test. So comparing these
And that's
right
Miss
here.
Groom's looking in there. And Alva is absolutely right. I mean, even Beeman didn't take a stance in this, and that's part of his job. We've got to get a sheriff in there who can push back and say, we got problems with our elections. That's his job.
Great party and public works. No.
So see how Sue's still messing with that? But they told us all of them were done.
I'm going to push pause, and I want to remind everyone during this 17-minute clip, okay, Sue Clark walks out twice and prints off ballots twice, like one for one machine, and then she walks out and comes back for that last end machine.
Yes, JB Ghost, it has been covered again and again and again. And the point is that no one is doing anything about it. But yet I can be hauled in front of the 5th district. Nicole can be hauled in front of the 5th district. We can see Larry Savage get arrested. We can see all the other things that happen to people who are not part of the Klan. But Andrew Hanna, and if you would be here from the beginning, JB Ghost, you would see what we're talking about is we're talking about Andrew Hanna, who says they don't get involved and that it's all left to the county election board. Well, when the county election board is the one committing the crimes, who holds them accountable, if not the prosecutor?
And with this being the Senate race, the person you're running against is on all the election boards. So why wouldn't you take over those positions yourself when you get in?
Yeah.
This has everything to do with her Senate race, because she'll be able to go in and make rules or help write the rules that change this from ever happening again.
Yeah, the county election boards need tighter reins on them. They need accountability within themselves. And the reason why, JB Ghost, we're doing it over and over and over again, because this happened 2 years ago. Now we're getting ready to go to the election, and people forget. Not every voter
not
is
even
as
forget
educated as you.
Some of them don't even know that this happened, and they're telling us that we have election integrity in Madison County, and I can assure everyone we don't.
Right.
Because we just happened to catch this in 2024, but I caught something back in 2020 that they still refuse to listen to, and Russ Willis lied about it.
Right. So show them the final word flips, Nicole, the final.
This messed up, and I had to piggyback off the footage on that. And for some reason, it did that to us. Okay.
And so they never get it to zero. The point of the matter is they certified this test. They did not have all the original ballots. Okay, there, it just flipped just now. It just flipped just now. And finally, but the thing is they didn't have all the original ballots in order to certify this test. And that's what we're trying to say. We're trying to say that the biggest problem is, see, JB goes, no, that isn't what a state senator does. Well, you know what, JB? What does a state senator do? You know why they don't do it? Because nobody ever gets involved. This one, I would be pushing if I was the state senator, saying, no, we're going to look at these films. We're going to be addressing them. Everybody wants to put everything in this small little area that says you only stay in this lane. If you're telling me that when we've got an election integrity issues that the senator shouldn't be involved, you're crazy. Absolutely should I be stepping up and saying, wait a minute here. My constituents are not having secure elections.
And if
that's not what blows my mind.
But if that's not what the senator's job is, then why does Mike Gaskell sit on all these election boards?
How did he get to vote to shorten the amount of time we get to have elections? Why did he shorten the periods? I mean, this is just what blows my mind.
Okay, so
JB, let me enlighten you. I don't know who you are, but I feel like we're going in circles here. Okay,
I think I know who it is.
I think I do too. But we have been doing it for 2 years. Did you see the point where Russ was found guilty of election canvassing and the special prosecutor said he wouldn't be facing any criminal charges? So we are doing it. But you know what, JB? You need to do it. And everybody else that watches this needs to do it. You see, true Americans don't need to have a fake name. And I love it when they get on here and they're like, let me give you my 2 cents. Whether you're for me or you're against me, because I've heard that, is irrelevant when you want us to get lost in the weeds of what my job is and what my job isn't. The whole problem with government right now is that mentality. Well, you shouldn't deal with that because that should be left to somebody else. And you shouldn't mess with that because that should be, and you should only mess with this. Well, I don't know if anybody's paying attention, but have you ever seen me, Nicole, just pick one person to question or talk about or one board? No. We should all be involved.
Alva. He likes his fake name. I like my fake name.
And that's the thing. I mean, Joe Biden, the ghost, I guess is who that
That's a
is.
good one.
I don't know. It's a Democrat, I would assume. I
So-
wouldn't use JB.
So Karen, I thought the same thing. And in September, I asked Diego who had jurisdiction over the Madison County Election Board, and his people said nobody. And I'm like, what do you mean nobody has jurisdiction? And they were like, nobody has jurisdiction. So I'm like, okay, so here we are, and we can't get anybody to
that's the
do
truth.
anything.
And they do truly leave it to the county election board, and they are so stacked at the state level that they even those attorneys up there will come into play and protect the county election board, even if their findings are so far out there. It's just craziness. And that's what I'm saying. The people are going to have to get involved. And I want to commend Cheryl Dodd McKinney for stepping up and filing a violation. I wish more people would also file the violation on the county email. And everybody wants to find a way to skirt around this county email, but that's government owned property and he should not be having it. And I guess we can get into the weeds of the semantics, but he literally is going door to door, handing people that card with his county email saying, I'm running for sheriff. That is it. You're using it for political use.
Okay, so I was trying to go back to the what do you call it? Back to the mailers and why we were talking about
that's
email.
really irrelevant. Everybody knows that's on there. I commend this Jordan James for stepping up. I commend him for saying I don't usually weigh in publicly on local politics, especially when it involves the sheriff's department. But the fact that Jonathan Colt believes he's qualified to run for sheriff is both astonishing and deeply concerning. Well, for me, I probably would say it's very insulting, right? As an elected council member, he has shown absolutely zero support for the sheriff's department. In fact, he has one of the strongest voices against our most recent contract. That's not leadership, it's incompetence. If you want to watch someone torch a county and cripple its sheriff's department from the inside out, electing him will do exactly that. Somebody else asked if he could even use the sheriff's emblem because if he can even use that because he's not a sheriff.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so JB Ghost, here's the deal. When you find a YouTube channel with your correct name and who you want to be, I'll talk to you about anything you want. Until then, I am no longer going to address anyone behind their hidden name. Not going to do it. So moving on, because I've had just about enough of these fake names. Moving on, the big problem here is Jonathan, raises lots of concerns using his email address, but show that text that I sent you about that somebody had wrote about Jonathan, which is our greatest concern.
Which one was it? Oh. Okay. And that's actually, it was Birdie's post.
And this is a big deal.
What's her? Wait, you sent me the text in the messenger? Or did you send it on my phone?
I sent it to you.
I think you sent it to my text. Hold on. I'll have to pull it over.
Here, I'll just send it in Messenger.
You guys send it to Aaron. Hold on.
Well, I put it in the two chicks. Okay. So there is on a post that has to do with Jonathan Culp, there is a Sandra Nardoni. And thank you for using your real name and standing behind who you are. And it says, Jonathan is a good guy. He has always been a very hard worker, paid for his own equipment for a business at the age of 14, is an excellent manager of money, has a heart of gold. I have known him since he was a baby. When he sees there is something he wants to fix, he goes for it. That is what this is about.
I think
I don't
she
know about
edited that because I don't remember that's
No,
saying.
no reason to criticize a person just for running, in my opinion. He has an excellent character, and that accounts for a lot in my books. Well, listen, he has no education in doing this. He has no experience. I mean, literally, he's like 25 or 26 years old, and each one of the sheriff candidates individually have that many years of experience per person. Now, again, could you have a 26 or 25, 26-year old? I guess they went to the academy at 21 and they've got some experience, but he's got no experience. And when people say that he's an excellent manager of money, again, I bring that back to the stamps, right? And the stamps is what goes on as, he, instead of paying for bulk mail, he's using those forever stamps, which is a huge difference in price. I don't know why you would think he has excellent financial responsibility, because that clearly was a situation right there. So I'm going to tell you, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not too concerned with Jonathan pounding his chest. He thinks this is great. He thinks even negative campaign is wonderful. That just goes to show, I mean, and clearly he wants to insult everybody for even running for this position. So I think there are a lot of people who think like this Sandra lady. I think he's got a great chance of winning this. And the fact is this: if the voters don't get involved and start pushing this Indiana code, there's a good possibility that Culp may be your next sheriff.
So I was trying to find this original post of Birdie's, but for some reason it's not letting me find it.
Yeah, you have to have those things up before we get started, because it's hard to find that stuff. So as I just want everybody to know that that's my conversation about Jonathan Culp. I've gotten a lot of feedback on those, but you know what? Good for the people who go out there and are posting and sharing. I commend all of you. Now, when we move through this, I want to also talk about, because his email address is a big thing. If we go look at a post I made today on Rachel Christensen, no one knew that Rachel Christensen took over the Parks Board department.
I didn't know that until you made the post.
Yeah, and so when we're starting to watch email exchanges come through, people are asking Ben Orcutt for information, but he doesn't have it, ready to go. So that becomes a big problem. So anyways, they are emailing Rachel Christensen, but the problem is they're not just emailing Rachel Christensen at her Madison County government email. They're also doing it at her private, I think it's her Gmail account. Yeah. And I don't understand why you would be putting county business on both emails.
Because didn't they even get, and I'm not a big fan of Clintons. I'm not a big fan of the Clintons, okay? But I thought that Hillary got in trouble because of something to do with her personal email.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. Is I don't understand why they're using both of those emails. And here's the thing: once you do that, all of her personal Gmail is subject to a request as well. And here's the thing: the taxpayers pay like $25 for each email that is assigned to a county employee. So I
didn't know that either.
But that's what I was told in the coroner's office. Because see, before we took over, they were making all the coroners use like a Gmail account, and we're like, you can't do that. This is like legal stuff. Like they're county employees, and so we were able to get it. But their big complaint was because it cost $25 a year for each coroner we put on.
Wow.
Yeah. So those email addresses aren't for free. So I just kind of want to share with the taxpayers, and people want to know, what's my platform? Well, my platform is in action. It's every day. It's accountability. It's, demanding transparency with answers. And Nicole, here's an interesting thing. And I think Alva and Karen and some other people would probably agree that what I'm doing right now, it doesn't have to be my responsibility as a constituent. I can just go vote and never deal with any of this stuff. But you see, I'm not the person who's only going to say, well, that's not my role. I'm not the person that's ever going to say, well, I shouldn't address that over there. You know, I went to Pittsburgh, Indiana when LKQ was trying to come in. And that's not our county. It's nowhere close to us, but I'm still going to address it. Because why? They called me and asked me to address it. And this is the mindset that we have to get, not just us out of, we have to get the community out of this. Let's only focus on this piece of the puzzle. So, you know, the thing with Rachel Christensen, we're watching the same type of, they built the same culture over in Pendleton, and both of them kind of went by the wayside. I think I'm almost positive Rachel was fired from the town of Pendleton. She never even turned in a conflict of interest until May of 2025. And that was only after Nicole and I were raising concerns of why doesn't anybody have any conflicts of interest in? Ben Arquette doesn't have one in. She didn't have one in. So there were all these different, you know, balls being juggled with no accountability. So it's just interesting to see that somehow she's felt, and here's the thing, she's not even the president of the Parks Board. So I don't know how she ended up being the main player on managing all this stuff that's going on. That really should be going through Ben Arquette at this point until they get a new person to oversee that area. So I think this whole parks thing is going to turn into even more and more exposure and points of weaknesses and abuse of power that we're all going to get ready to see. So whoever takes over Jessica Baston's role, I'm going to tell you this. If I were you, the minute you find those problems, I would be saying, this is what I have left over, because otherwise you're going to become the fall guy because you covered it up. So that's kind of where I'm at. And like Alva says, it may not affect me today, but it will one day. And that's exactly right. I mean, you can keep burying your head in the sand.
Well, I want to point out on this one document right here that Rachel Christensen works for HWC Engineering. Okay, she's on the Parks Board. What else is HWC Engineering doing here in Anderson?
Right. They're doing the for the city. They're doing stuff for the city of Anderson.
Jason Baker, JB Ghost. If that's your real name, that could just be another fake account. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. It's Joe Biden for all I know. I have no idea.
Okay, so
I didn't break the trust. I've always been under my name. So, you know,
he did just change his name up, but
yeah, so that's the whole big thing about what's kind of going on today. I mean, this is going to be interesting. Now, remember, the Parks Board couldn't even answer who authorized the spending of that money. Right. And remember, they only had $400,000 in play.
But wait, I want to point out, so HWC Engineering is the engineering firm that the city of Anderson hired to do the athletic park build in the Superfund zone. So we were just arguing with the Anderson Redevelopment Commission on Tuesday about the athletic park. And we just found out that there's another plume under Plant 7. So that just lit on Tuesday. So if that plume and this contamination is going right into that athletic park, it makes no sense. But then Rachel Christensen, I don't even know how to say that. How do you Christensen?
Christensen.
She should have put in something about that, a conflict of interest. Or did her conflict of interest just say she worked for HWC? I can't remember. Do you have it in this post? Let's see.
No, she works for HWC. I forget what her role is.
I know,
but she does. I mean, there's a picture of her. She's a project manager, planner for that.
Okay.
And so, but it, you know, I just want people to be understand the reason why they've done so well in this Parks Board is because people have actually shown up at the meetings, right? And we've done a great job at sharing information to get those people there.
I think we helped get Jessica Baston fired.
Well,
Not that it's funny. It's not funny to get people fired. I'm not laughing because
I didn't get her fired because I didn't do anything wrong. Right?
Jessica Baston has been a very rude person to voters, constituents. We have arguments with her yelling at Lisa Summers and saying some of the most snarkiest stuff from the podium. And then she's also the one when concerned citizens were bringing problems to the Parks Board, they were shutting everybody down.
Right. And that the whole thing, like Alva says, HWC engineering's paid constantly through the Muncie Board of Works. I mean, they've got their claws into everything. So, I mean, it is what it is, but I just want everybody to know these are other things that we should all be equally concerned over, right? We should all be concerned over our people. Do people have conflicts of interest in place? And again, people can say, oh, that's not what a senator does. Well, here's the thing. I don't know what our senator has been doing. You don't see him at meetings. You don't see him putting anything out on out for anybody to watch. You don't hear him informing any of us, right? And Tim, he wants Athletic Park left alone because he wants it developed. Listen,
we're not like what my
all I'm saying is
we want the build.
People need to turn in their conflicts of interest.
And
that's all we're saying.
But what my issue with the athletic park thing is just make sure that it's clean, because we need an environmental impact study before they go spending $4 million and then they can't even use the park because something to do with the water.
Right.
And it's right on top of the combined sewage outfall number 16, which is continually violating the EPA. What is it? Something to do with the Clean Water Act. Okay, because they keep spitting out sewage into the White River and they're not getting it cleaned up. In fact, the Anderson wastewater treatment plant.
Here's the thing, Nicole. Here's the thing, Nicole. That's not what a county council person does or is responsible for.
I've heard.
Do you see how ignorant that is? I mean, you're an elected official. If you but you're also a concerned citizen. And did anybody watch when Ken Kaczynski went to the podium? He said, I am your surveyor, but as a taxpayer, I got concerns over that. Nobody knew what happened to $850,000 and who authorized it when we knew we only had $400,000 to spend. So I have no idea where they're going to come up with this $450,000, and then come to find out they're going to bring in porta potties, but they're only going to bring them in from like April to November.
That's stupid.
And then if it floods over there, they're going to remove them before it floods, and then they're going to put them back. Well, that's all going to take time and money. I don't even know how think about it. So they just told all the departments that they had to cut each department by one staff member, right?
Right. Did you want to get that clip? I can pull that clip up.
No, but if they have to cut it by one staff member, how are you going to come up with a parks board? If you're cutting every department by like 5% on top of an employee, how are you going to come up with a parks board or a maintenance for that? I mean, that's my problem with the whole thing. And so when people are like, hey, this is what you're saying, I still have a role as a concerned citizen too, don't I?
Right.
I would think you would have one.
I don't want to get sick from playing in the White River this summer. I love kayaking. And if I'm being told that they're spitting out, well, the sewage is an issue, PFAS is an issue, VOCs are issues. I mean, that's a lot of stuff that could lead to, well, Aaron got sick last year.
Right. And Tim's right. They've done a lot of work down there in the last few years, but I hope, Tim, that they're taking some very detailed notes on what's going on with the parks department over in the county at those anchor parks, because like they didn't get certain permissions done and they were still moving ahead until concerned citizens got involved and said, hey, was there an Indian reservation over there? Hey, what about the Eagle's Nest? Is that a problem? So that's my whole thing is that are they doing all the checks and balances prior to taking it so far, and then we're out of that money, right? That's what the whole big deal is. So, it's just one of those things that we need to pay more attention to. We need more accountability. so I just kind of wanted to bring all this up to everybody because I know that's been a lot of floating around. And so, as everybody knows, like anything, what is Catherine most concerned about? Catherine is very concerned about the cost of medications, that we have people who are paying into insurance companies. And when they go and their deductible is still crazy high, like they still have a 10,000 on top of the premiums they pay, that's criminal. You're asking people to make payments like that, but then you give them no real coverage, right? Until they meet that $10,000 deductible. That's craziness. So we've got to do something that fixes that whole thing. I have a way where I think that what they should do is any money that they've paid towards their premiums, that should be deducted from their premiums instead of them paying on top of that. The other thing is pharmaceuticals have to be more affordable. We can't have all these great drugs out here that nobody can afford to have. So we need to start getting something in place. And I know the drug companies are very powerful, but we need to start showing how people are dying because they cannot afford life-sustaining meds. And we live in America. That should never be the case, right? So we need affordable health care. And the other thing that really is important to me is defending our First Amendment right. And that we should have the ability to speak at the podium for longer than 3 minutes. 3 minutes is a little ridiculous. I mean, after all, these guys sit up there and banter with each other and they can't get it done in 3 minutes. How do you expect us to get it done in 3 minutes? So I think, and I really will probably fight back against that one where they can, throw you out of a meeting because you're disruptive. There's a difference between disruptive and accountability, right? I mean, I was thrown out of a meeting because I asked why the commissioners aren't being charged for misappropriation of funds when they've spent $80,000 in bills before they had the money appropriated. And that's a Class B misdemeanor. So there's lots of things, right, that need to be along the way. The other thing I really think, because I don't think we're going to be able to get senators to voluntarily do this, I really think that senators should have to have town hall meetings.
I do too.
4 times a year. And I think that should be a law. You just showing up when you want their vote, but then you don't want their voice all the other time for the next 3.5 years. I don't think that's okay. And unfortunately, we have too many elected officials that can't seem to do the right thing. So now it's like school. We have to tell you, now you have to go meet with your constituents. And this is how long you have to hold your meeting for. And the constituents have to be able to speak, even if you're offended. Right? Even if your constituent gets on your forums and calls you names, even if the constituent gets on there and is an anonymous poster and just thinks they can bully their way through. And I even love it even more when they're such a bully and they're a male.
We don't have
home. There's something in their brains that are like, well, I'm male, so I'm just I can't imagine how these people treat their wives or girlfriends or their daughters.
That has been horrible because they have been pretty rude lately. But
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Are we home rule? Are we home rule at the county council meetings? Because I thought they said we weren't home rule.
Well, here's the thing. Home rules are not supposed to supersede state rules. And so there needs to be accountability.
Or the Constitution.
Yeah, there needs to be accountability in many ways. And, like I said, everybody wants a bill for something and everybody wants a promise for something. But like I've told you before, I will have my own town hall meetings. Don't we have a town hall meeting this month?
Actually, we do. The town hall is crap. Let me look at the Facebook. I don't have it.
People can come to those town halls and they can
do a podcast from there too. So we can have open.
Yeah, I mean, they can come and they can speak and they can, do all they want, at town hall meetings. I mean, you can be respectful. I've never gone to the podium and was disrespectful.
Sure.
I just asked accountability.
Yeah, but it doesn't say the town hall thing.
So that's the whole thing. And that's what we would like to see. Jason Baker, if you don't understand that 3.5 years, a senator sits in seat for 4 years. Okay. So right about now, they're about 3.5 years. right? We're running an election. All of a sudden, they want to hear your voice. They want to hear everything that matters. But then after they won the election, they don't want to hear from you for the next 3.5 years. That's a problem. And that's why, things like that need to be made, that they will have to have town halls, that senators are going to have to, state reps are going to have to do that. And guess what else? They have to put it on recording, just like all the other meetings that have to go on in government. I think it's really important. So there's so many things that I could sit back and I could do and I could look at and, and listen to all of, and let me be real clear with Jason Baker. Jason Baker, if you don't know me by now, the last person who's going to run the show is a citizen who comes on here under a fake name, starts calling me names, and believes that you are going to tell me how I'm going to respond to you. If you don't like my answer, that's unfortunate. It's my answer. That's not rude. That's not disrespectful. That's firm. And that's the fact that I have the self-confidence that says, this is how it is on certain things. And here's the deal. If Karen were on here and you were doing that to her, I would stand right in front of her and I would tell you to knock it off. So this is no different. Just because you want to throw a tantrum because you're not getting your way, that's on you. I didn't come on the forum. I wasn't under a fake ID. I never have been.
We don't get a chance to hide.
Right?
Your JV Ghost was a fake name, and Jason Baker, we can't even prove who you are. So
that's what I mean.
Another fake name. But I want to point out
his questions, and again, and some people were never going to be able to satisfy, and that's just how it is. That's just the reality of it, right? So for me, I enjoy the fact that I get to hear from constituents who, they know the fact that Gaskell hasn't, he hasn't come to the plate. He hasn't kept his promises. And the thing is if you want to vote for the opponent who gives you a bunch of hot air, have at it. Knock yourself out. You know what I'm saying? It's a race. That's America.
But I want to point out that the White River runs through your district from one side of Madison County to the other. It also goes up into Hamilton County, into White River. Oh, here, the White River
Township and Jackson
Township. Okay. So why would any of us want this contamination to float from Anderson all the way into Hamilton County? And it doesn't stop in Jackson Township. It keeps going down into Fishers. It goes into Indianapolis. I mean, everybody should be concerned what is getting put into our water. And then on top of our contamination, then they got their own contamination over there in Hamilton County.
Right.
So I think that's important for the district.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We all have to bring awareness, right? We all have to bring awareness. I encourage people to run. I think that everybody should run at least one time in their life. I mean, even like if you were in high school running for student council, running for those things, I think it's great that you run for things. And I think what we should challenge in our government, our econ classes, I actually think that senators should have to go out and visit the government and econ classes and spend 2 full days each semester in those classes, meeting the different high schools. Like, I think there needs to be put more on they just show up at the State House. Right. Yeah. I think that's another thing I'd like to see, because we do need to get some civics back into the classroom.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It's not being taught.
Right. So there's just so much, there's so much to do. And that's why I think the more people who get involved, the better. I think, parents should encourage their kids to take off, after they're like a sophomore in high school. Parents should encourage their kids to go work the polls. That's an excused absence, but to get involved and engage and educate people and what the shoot is and who's running and who's not running and how to look at people. Again, I encourage people to go to my case in mycase.gov, look up your candidates in there as well. Right? See what's going on in there. So there's so many things that I would like to do and like to say. And I think what the great thing about our podcast is we get to bring things to light every day. It may not be the topic that somebody wants to talk about, but you know what the great thing is? We do listen to the constituents, and that's what we've done tonight. We listened to so many give feedback about Culp and this Rachel Christensen. So we just decided to have a show on it just to, because sometimes just talking about it helps us all engage. And again, here's some town hall meetings. We encourage people. And here's the thing, Nicole and I are voluntarily doing this.
Right.
In 2024, I participated in all those that they had as well. And you saw people like Kyle Pierce showed up only when it was an Anderson. He didn't really show up more than that. You never see Rorway show up. Gaskell never showed up at a town hall meeting.
I've never seen Gaskell at a town hall meeting, and the meetings I have seen him at, he refuses to answer our questions. The Tea Party, he just looked at me like I was a deer in headlights when I asked some of my questions. Like, I still cannot wrap my head around how my election complaints have not been adjudicated. And then Russ Willis was allowed to come in and do what he did. So both Gaskell and Kyle Pierce have blown me off. So.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, we don't really have representation, right? In Madison County, we don't have a prosecutor that wants to listen to any complaints. We don't have an election board that wants to listen to any complaints. So we're kind of stuck in the mud right now until we get elected officials in place who will hold them accountable. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm running for this position is because, when I go to other meetings, they're like, well, you don't live in this area. You're in Lapel. You can't come up here to Alexandria. Well, that's not necessarily true. And look what I did. I went up to Alexandria. I put their video on live. I was able to teach somebody else up there who'd never done a live video ever, and they took that over themselves. Isn't that the kind of leadership you want elected?
I want to say something. Jason Baker, nobody has been rude to you. You're upset because we're not paying attention to you because you've came in on 2 or 3 different podcasts where we're trying to talk to other people, constituents, and voters, and you keep repeating your questions. You keep trying to get us to pay attention to you. So it's not that we're being mean, but then you go and you switch over into another name and we still can't prove who you are. And this week I had to deal with an issue with people using nicknames and trying to harass and all this stuff. And it is not a violation of your constitutional rights when you're using nicknames for us to ignore you. That's not a violation.
Yeah. The violation would be if we removed you from the page, and we're not doing that. Have at it. Speak all you want. Nobody says that you have to answer a person. I mean, if that were the case, Gaskell shouldn't be in seat. Cummings shouldn't be in seat.
And that's fine, Jason, but we're here for something else right now, and we'll address whatever you're trying to get to at another podcast. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. So the topic tonight is about town hall meetings, which I think those are some things. I did answer the questions on some of the things that I would like to see changed and some bills that I would like to push through. I'm not going to sit here, everybody. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I want lower property taxes. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I want more money put into education. That's a given. That is a waste of energy. That is a waste of oxygen because absolutely I want those. We already know that. Anybody who knows me knows that that's what I want. I mean, there's nobody who's even going to doubt that. I mean, my 2 daughters are exceptional students, like crazy exceptional students. Of course I value education. If I didn't, I wouldn't have gone to the highest of what I could in nursing.
You're on my platform, Jason Baker. That's why I'm here. I'm the builder, the architect, and running
the owner of it.
Stuff. Yeah, I am the owner.
You are the owner. I am a
why
guest.
Are you here if you want to keep harassing people?
I am a guest and a co-host to Nicole. This is not my page. This is not what I own.
There's more than 7 people here, Jason, because we're live streaming on 8 platforms. So 8 platforms. And it's not the Jason show. So if you want your own show, then you should go do your own thing. So, and that's the last thing I'm going to say to you. So you have a blessed evening, and I'm going to get back to this podcast.
And so, those are the things that, tonight is all about, and I'd like to hear from the people who are watching this, like Carrie McFadden, like Karen O, like Splinter, these people who have been very engaged throughout this whole process. Should we, Alva, continue to talk about the shortcomings of Culp and why he shouldn't be elected? Or should we just stand down and not educate the voters?
I think we should be telling everybody what's going on, because
right?
if I did any of that stuff that Culp was doing, or Jennifer Culp was doing, or Todd Culp was doing, I would have already been in trouble.
Well, and that's the whole thing. If we were using our government email, so when I was the chief deputy coroner, right, you cannot even put a political sign or brochure in a county vehicle. Like, you get in big trouble for that. So I don't understand why he is able to put that information on his cards and pass them out and say, I'm running for sheriff. Well, he's not allowed to. It's an Indiana code, and it clearly states that the government owns that. And he can't intertwine the two. It literally says emails in there in black and white. And again, we had a recorder who, I want to say like 3 terms ago had to resign her position because of the same similar situation. But I would like to know, Tim Funk's another good one to ask, should we quit talking about Culp? Or should we continue to educate the community? Because that's what this show is for. This show it doesn't say Catherine Callahan for Senate. It doesn't say Nicole Kapuzinski for council. It just says 2 chicks with a political podcast.
We're talking about important stuff that's affecting our district.
That's the topic of the show, but I would be interested. I haven't heard from the people who are on here tonight what their thoughts are. And I get it, because Tim Funk may even say, and I'm not speaking for him or Alva or Karen, that they may say, well, they always say, don't say the other opponent's name. Don't ever let that come out. Well, this is a different situation. We've got somebody who's just not qualified to do the job. So, that's the whole reason why I wanted to bring this up tonight and talk about it again. It's America. You are welcome to choose who you want to vote for, but I am greatly concerned over this sheriff's race. Greatly concerned. So without further ado, if you have anything else you want to add, Nicole, I think we cleared up a lot of understanding here of what the actual show is about and where our concerns come from. Because after this election is done, we're still going to
do podcasts. We're still going to come and talk about uncomfortable things that need to be discussed.
Yeah. So, and here's what Karen says: who executes law? When government fails, the people have the right to take action. And we do, Karen O, and that's the whole big thing. We have the right to take action without repercussions. But it's like we get these repercussions if we call out anything that look at me. I'm calling this stuff out. I'm questioning this stuff. I'm even putting up Indiana code. And what do? They haul me in front of the 5th district. They send out false flyers. They do. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole big part of all of this. And I just don't understand. To be honest with you, why we can't redress our officials. They volunteered for this. So that's kind of where I'm at with all of this.
I wasn't going to, I was just letting you go on tonight, and I was going to come on tomorrow about the remediation thing with Plant 7 and the plume tomorrow.
Yeah. So tune in tomorrow. What time are you going to do that at?
We talked about doing it earlier, like maybe by 11, but definitely by 7 p.m. It just depends, because I was going to have Bree come on with me.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah, if
Yeah,
you guys
so-
are interested in the water, watch that. If Bree and Nicole are going to get in and talk about that, that would be a great one for you guys to
because we
to
found the
watch.
maps. We had I think Teresa Smock sent me some information. We had several different old timers got us the maps within like 24 to 48 hours to tell us where Plant 7 was located so we could try to figure out where the plume was. And it's on top of where Gulch signs are.
There you
On
go.
Scatterfield. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
there you go.
kind of interesting. We can't seem to get away from that particular area right now.
Yeah, lots of attention there. So.
And then I was looking something up while you were talking.
Yeah, I mean, Karen, I don't disagree with you. I mean, this is just so completely out of control with what's going on. The abuse of power. I mean, she's right. It's tyrants and treasonous. I don't disagree. And, that's one of the main reasons why I'm running, because I hope that I can be a voice for the people. It's just so hard for me to say, well, this is my platform, because I think anybody who knows me knows that my platform becomes what our immediate need is. And while we think we want to talk about one thing, we may have something totally unexpected come up that I need to really address that. And then it's like, well, Catherine, you promised us this and you never got to it. Well, because we were over here trying to put out this fire, and everybody has to agree, right? That there are just fires going everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's going to get a whole lot worse as the year goes on. I mean, I think it's great that Jody Norick is making them reduce a person from their department. I think it's great that she is decreasing their budget by 5%, because that means she's going to have to hold the prosecutor's office to that position. So are they going to decrease a prosecutor? She's going to have to hold the judges to that position. What's she going to decrease there? I mean, this all or none package is going to be amazing to watch. So that's my thing. I'm for the people, and whatever is important to you, if it's affecting the majority of us, that's what's going to become important to me. And that's what's going to become my platform at that very given moment. Listen, 3 years ago when Lapel was getting that junkyard for LKQ, that wasn't on my radar. I didn't go to Lapel meetings. I stayed totally focused on the county only. But that became a very big issue in my own backyard. And I did jump in with that with both feet and had to put things on the county on hold in order to address what was going on over Lapel. And so that's why it's so hard sometimes for me to do this. And I'm going to say this disclaimer right here. I had nothing to do with this flyer. I don't even know where this flyer came from. It's not important where it came from, but I'm just going to put this up here right now because Nicole, as my witness, will say Catherine is not that good on creativity and being able to do something like this.
And I am good at building and doing stuff, but this is not mine. Like that is not mine.
So we don't generally reveal our sources when it comes to stuff like this, but I think it's a fair flyer.
So come to find out, we're not the only ones upset, or we're not the only ones upset about the Colt stuff. And I think he's got like 6. What are we up to? 6 mailers at this point.
6 mailers. I can't imagine how much that's cost.
Oh, that's thousands.
Yeah.
So we just name dropped you. Were your ears burning?
I can't wait. I cannot wait to see his finances.
I can't wait either. Now, the first day of finances, don't they come out like April 10th?
I thought it was like April 17th or something.
Okay, but it's pre-primary.
Yeah.
Because I was having a discussion with somebody the other day that said that they thought it came after. I think it was Cheryl too. I think Cheryl thought that it was after May, and then
I would love to see like Karen file a complaint with the and here's the other thing I just want to put out there. So I guess Cheryl filed a complaint, right? And then they pushed back and said, no, it has to be on that exact complaint form, the one that we put up there that before they would accept it. So I would like to see other people question this email address too and see what they say to them, if they get a different response or if they just copy and paste the same response to those people, right?
Well, I think me writing the little smiley face on the the virtual complaint I sent, I think that's what got the virtual complaint taken off the website because I was playing with them.
Yeah. And here's the thing. So Stephanie Mason says he hasn't been to my door yet. So, well, we still have.
Well, that's probably because he's seeing your posts on our stuff. And I think they're purposely ignoring people that they know are like connected to us or support us or attend our meetings.
Yeah. So, and that's right there, Danny's thoughts. That's the only way through this is that people are sharing the stuff. We're educating the voter. We're trying to get things done. And in here, like Tim Funk says, every time you mention that last name, you are advertising for him for free. And there is, and that's the question, Tim, do you not educate the voters on his lack of qualifications, or do you just let him run with his name recognition? And there's a very good chance he'll be able to get it. And somebody like Tim Funk, somebody like Carrie McFadden, somebody like Danny's thoughts, those people, these are educated voters. Like almost everybody on here tonight, these are educated voters.
But not just that. We're talking about him not for our sake, because I think me and her could pretty much ignore him all day long, every day.
Yeah, we're just trying to save this from becoming a catastrophe. Because if he wins that election, he's in. There's nothing you guys are going to be. None of us are going to be able to do to get him out.
The staff that can't talk about it. It's the sheriff's deputies that can't talk about it. There's a lot of people that cannot express themselves about this, and so therefore their time is short, and if they can't talk about it, they need somebody, and we represent them too. In fact, I think me and Catherine have spent more time supporting the 911 dispatch and the sheriff's deputies and the sheriff actually until a few weeks, well, what was it, a couple months ago, and we had a little falling out or a little tiff with the Sumner stuff, and we're still working that out. But we've been the biggest pro.
But I don't want to see anything bad happen to the sheriffs, and quite frankly, this would be bad.
I think so. I think this would be bad. That would be who is in charge of them, so they would have to answer to him, and I have a feeling that he would be just like his mother and have a power trip about that. Right, being in charge and having access to the keys of the kingdom. And when I was talking on the Veterans Coffee Club podcast this morning, one of the guys brought up something really good. Well, I don't know about really good, but he pointed out that these guys, or the sheriff, gets kickbacks from like the the commissary.
Yeah.
Right. So he can actually make more money.
Yeah, and the salary for the sheriff is over $150,000.
Yeah,
so that'd be
I thought it was,
and that's what I'm saying, Karen. You sell yourself too short because you do a great job with your comments here on when you're doing the show. It's simple. He's in violation for using county email for political propaganda. That's it. It's a violation of Indiana code, and I put the code up on my page. That's it. Sign it and send it in.
11 plus, Danny.
I mean, it's a Saturday night. We're not in a routine. Sometimes we'll have, when we announce and we're prepared, people, it'll have 40 people on here.
And it's the rewatches that get us the number. Right. And so like on Facebook, we'll hit a couple thousand in the next 24 to 48 hours. Yeah. And that's just on Facebook. And then we got it going. We're live on 3 different YouTube channels. And so we're going to get views from each one of those. So in the end, people, they're going to tune in, and we reach a lot of people with these things. That's why we went with this instead of trying to put a lot of money into having the events again this year.
Yeah. So those are the kind of things that, we're trying to do, this is all new for both you and I to do this on our own, and I think this was just something we felt was a need for Madison County. And it's good to see all the different people who come on here and share with us too. And so we'll start bringing up some more topics as the week goes on. I got really behind on posting this week. It was just a busy week, and so I'm trying to make up for some of that. So I think over the next 2 days you're going to see some interesting articles that didn't really make a lot of movement from the Herald Bulletin, but I'll get those up and give my 2 cents on them. It's kind of a couple of them are real interesting. I did put one up today.
Now, I want to point out right here with Jason Baker. Now, see, he's mad because he's trolling.
I'm not addressing him anymore.
No,
So
I know, but now he's saying that we're trying to attempt whatever he's saying right here. See, it's
I'm not
guys
even
like
interested.
you, Jason Baker, if you're real, that harass and stalk and intimidate women. And I looked my case up a second ago, and it says the Jason Baker closest to us is a rapist. So that's why I shut your comments down a minute ago, because I can't prove who you are, and I don't personally like being stalked by fake people. So,
and me, I don't give it any energy. But I did put one up. I did put up a post today, which it would be interesting to see your thought process. And it did get a lot of traction. And it was about, should we reinstate the draft?
Oh, yeah.
And then I had a discussion with my 2 daughters tonight, and it was a lot of back and forth, and they're totally against it, and they just don't think there's a need for it. And
that's back on here.
So that was kind of interesting to hear young minds and how they think and speak. So it was a topic, and I kind of play the devil's advocates with my daughters, and should we send every criminal into the draft instead, right? And they're like, well, then they would just deflect, Mom, and they would run away. So there were some great comments on there as far as that. Ken was drafted. And when I talked to Ken Delabastide, he's very proud of being drafted, right? Would he do it again? It doesn't sound like it, right? But and then
again,
I know people his age
acknowledge you either, Jason. That's the beauty of life. So.
Okay, and then I was talking to some people who they didn't get picked for the draft, and then they've always wished they did get picked. So it's a vicious cycle here on that. It's just a touchy subject on return to military draft would be traumatic. I guess it depends. Some people don't really have a home life, when they're in high school. They may have a broken home. They may have other things going on in their homes. And it may, yes, they can enlist. But I've noticed lately, like, I'll have patients said to me, if they have asthma, they won't take them. If they have a peanut allergy, they won't take them. Like, they will not take anybody with any kind of
true
question.
And they want to complain about not having enough able-bodied people. Well, guess what? If you're bumping them out because of things like peanut allergies and little silly things that, I don't know, could be treated.
I agree, Karen. We don't need any wars.
We don't.
We don't. You're no argument there for me. Absolutely.
Because we can't even take care of the veterans we got here at home. And that's one of the sad parts in the reality of, like, people don't understand that, okay, let's go to war. Everybody wants to support the war. Well, some people need to start volunteering to drive some of these disabled veterans to their appointments each week. Because what's happening now is our older veterans that used to volunteer are all they're dying off, okay? Or they're getting too old to where they can't drive anymore. So we're in need of drivers, because some of us vets, like me, for instance, here in Anderson or Madison County vets, we have to drive sometimes an hour to 5 or 2 and sometimes 5 to be able to go to an actual VA appointment. So, sending them to war, all I'm seeing is the people that are getting killed. And this was something else that was brought up. If you look at some of the pictures of some of the soldiers getting killed, they look like they shouldn't even be in a war zone. They look like they're our office staff people. You know, the
Right.
guys that should be running an office for a platoon or a company of soldiers that are getting sent to war and not going to war themselves. And so we've had a lot of
Right.
those guys getting killed off here lately. So anyway, yeah, so when they
That was
come
just an
home,
interesting topic.
there's just not a
that
lot of
people
benefits.
wait on.
So the draft, you know, you want to, and this is, Ken actually writes a pretty good article on this one
Yeah.
about parents having to let their children go.
Yeah, it was a balanced. Yeah, it was a balanced.
But he said sons, and I just want to point out that daughters get drafted too. Or was that part of the draft? Isn't that part of the draft? It would be all able-bodied.
I would think in this day and age, it would absolutely be the case.
And then while we were having this complex, chaotic struggle there for a minute, I did look up the deadline for the campaign finances. And it looks like by April 19th, 2024 noon is the for the filing, the pre-primary campaign finances.
Okay.
I need to put that on my calendar.
Yeah. So, well, so that's our things for, thank you for spending your Saturday night with us. And that's something else over there at the VA. We have to figure out a way to clean that up and give quicker access to our vets. And that would be on my radar as well. So my big platform is almost everything that has to do with healthcare and everything that's wrong with it right now.
Right.
So, all right. Well, if there's anything else, you guys are just always feel free to reach out to us via Messenger or YouTube or whatever you want to do. I'm grateful for all of you that tune in and share your thoughts, and you always have good feedback. And I'm glad that sometimes we can agree to disagree, but we all still get along at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I agree with Splinter. Handicapped person can still be very helpful in rear military.
Absolutely.
That was me when I got injured, and I realized that they still need. See, look, he keeps using different.
Again, just keep moving forward.
Okay. Anyway, that is true. Handicapped people can still do rear military. It just depends on the unit that they're attached to.
Yeah.
So.
And that's, I mean, that's the thing, that people answering the phone on the back end when they're in trouble can still coordinate things, right? They may not physically be able to be on the front lines, but mentally they could probably be some pretty powerful mover and shakers behind the scenes to help us be successful. So, but anyways, you guys have a great rest of the weekend. I hope that you and Bree come together tomorrow and talk more about the water for everybody. I think that's a great piece of information for everybody. And then Carrie says they brought back the mandatory sign up again in 79, the same year he turned 18. So people have been affected for this, right? And then Tim says everyone else running is either a police officer or has been a police officer in the sheriff's race. Yes. Yes. You know, that is absolutely, that's my biggest concern, Tim, but I am concerned that name recognition can get this done. I mean, he's pounded on more doors than anybody I've seen this election. So we will see how that goes. So, all right. Well, we'll see you guys, and thank you for tuning in.
Yep. Thank you guys. Even
All
our
right, have a great rest of the weekend.
Shalom. At least we use our real names, buddy. So you have a good evening, Jason.